And we are on once again. It's the Pop Culture Cosmos. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good.
Yeah.
This is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source, and also from Pop Culture Cosmos and the world-famous Retro City Games. It's the co-owner himself. It's Douglas Hoyabu. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. Happy to be here.
And we're happy to be also, well, we're streaming this live off of our Retro City Games Facebook page. If you get a chance, check them out. They are the leaders in retro gaming here in Southern Nevada, but also as well, if you're anywhere asking a question on retro gaming, shoot them a message. They are available and at your ready to answer all your retro gaming needs, correct?
Yes, we are.
Absolutely. So we also want to make sure we mention that we are also part of the Podcast Radio Network, airing Monday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you get a chance, check them out. Also as well, they're available on the TuneIn app and their own Podcast Radio Network application. If you haven't seen us yet, we're Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook. You can like us there, Pop Culture Cosmo on Twitter, and all that good stuff. I will be also sharing as well some of our cohorts in crime, so to speak, some of our good friends at Henshin Engine, Rob McCallum Films, Mario Party Wars, and more. I'll be dropping a little bit of that info on them a little bit later in the broadcast. But we are here right now to talk some video games.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. We're going to talk a fall preview, because we've already touched on a fall preview of movies as far as in our first episode. Fall preview of television, second episode. Now we're going to hit on a fall preview of the video game market coming up, and it's I guess it's turning out to be a pretty good year.
Yeah.
It's not like 2007, because I think for me that's my favorite year. That's the best year I think for the video game industry as far as for the fall season, on the number of titles. But this year's shaping up pretty good. What are your thoughts as far as from a general standpoint before we get into the particulars, Doug, as far as the fall season as far as for video games? How do you think it's looking so far?
I think for the AAA titles, we're seeing a lot of sequels, and I don't know if I'm as excited for those as a lot of them were indie and smaller games on a little more of the niche systems. But I think it's been a good year for games, and I think falls, we're getting some games that, like Last Guardian, that haven't been out, or we've been waiting for, since almost 2007. Just so, I don't know, I'm pretty excited.
And they just because Sony loves you so much and loves the game so much that it came out with an even longer delay. Although it's, going from October to December is not that bad, comparatively speaking. It's a game that's over 10 years in development. So, people have been born, people have died since that game was first announced. So I guess waiting about 6 weeks longer is not that bad. Although, as I told you before, kind of hurt that it didn't come out for them just before Black Friday, because I think that would get a great deal of interest. But, it's coming out. So I think that's all that matters.
It does and it doesn't. If you keep the game at full price, it hurts sales, because most people aren't picking up full price games on Black Friday or in the vicinity of Black Friday.
Yeah.
Releasing it afterwards, maybe they can generate their own hype for it. We see a lot of games do that with an early December release. Every year there's a handful that just skip that, and they'll do their own discount a week out, or right after Christmas. We'll see that that December 26th or 27th sale on the game, where we see a $45 or a $40 price point. Call of Duty, Fallout, those kind of games did that last year.
Absolutely. And they're doing it this year with Call of Duty actually not coming out once but twice, with a remastered version of actually it's the most, not only the most memorable, but probably the best game in the series, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and then also as well Infinite Warfare, which also comes out later this year as well. I understand that they're doing a package together, and then also as well they're coming out with, well, how should I say it, separate versions of each. Are you interested in both? One, tell me a little bit more about what your thoughts are as far as the Call of Duty franchise, because I think it's at a pinnacle. It's at a important point in the franchise history.
I think that it already peaked for me, and it's kind of on a downhill. Nicole and I used to play a ton of the online multiplayer. It was fast-paced, easy to get into. The first two games to me have decent stories and great gameplay for the single-player campaign. Once Infinity Ward kind of left, I think things shifted a little bit to a place where I didn't want it to be, towards that more Halo-centric type of gameplay. So I'm actually more excited for the remake of 1. And actually, are they doing a standalone version of that?
Yes.
That makes me extremely happy, and I'll actually probably Actually, I know I will pick that up, and I probably won't be picking up the new Call of Duty. I mean, until there's probably either price drop or I see a little more gameplay, because it really doesn't seem like.
Well, what are your customers saying as far as the new Call of Duty, especially with Battlefield 1, who's making a dramatic shift, as we spoke about on a previous episode, a dramatic shift in the actual series itself?
People seem to be much more excited about the Battlefield series, just because it seems, although it's going back to what we've seen before, it seems fresher. I mean, it's that next-gen experience that we're getting at the beginning of the last gen. Call of Duty, everybody says the same thing. Whenever the new one comes out, I see our customer base and the people around us talking about, oh, I can't believe I'm not getting it. It looks terrible. And then 6 months later, everybody has the game and they're playing it. I think it's just one of those. It's kind of ingrained in the pop culture of video games. It's just people grab the new Call of Duty and play it. I don't know why, but I mean, I think the last one I picked up was Black Ops 3, and I tried so hard to get into it and couldn't. I don't even know why I bought the game, because I didn't like Ghosts. I didn't buy Infinite Warfare.
Well, Ghost was a low point for them. Yeah, Ghost really, as far as from a critical, and then obviously ultimately, yes, it still sold a lot as far as is concerned when you're comparing other games to it. But in the Call of Duty series, it was a low point as far as in the series itself.
I guess my problem is, even from myself, I bought the game hoping it would be like my earlier experiences with the game, not with the later feel of it. And I don't know. I think we all hold on to things we wish they were something different. I wish it was that. I wish. And you wanted to capture that. I feel the same way about Halo. I keep playing the new Halos, hoping they'll be like the first couple or the first three. You know what I mean? But they never are.
I don't blame you a bit. Gears is coming back on the forefront as far as it's concerned with the brand new Gears of War 4. I know you and I both have seen gameplay footage. We've seen the trailers. What are your thoughts as far as Gears of War, and can it reclaim its spot as one of the pillars of the Microsoft, as far as their foundation is concerned for the Xbox?
Well, it's the first game with a lot of key people not working on it from the franchise. Most likely Cliff Bleszinski, I'm sorry.
But Rod Ferguson's... Yeah, but Rod Ferguson's still involved.
He is.
He's always been a major part of it.
I was just saying it might be a little bit different. It might have a little different tone with different people at the helm. But it looks good to me. I think I'm as excited for that, and I'm as excited for that console as I am for the game itself. That console looks amazing.
It does indeed. The nice red. It definitely is something that is plenty to look forward to. But when you're talking about Gears of War, you're talking about, obviously, Marcus Phoenix and whatnot, and he is making an appearance. Older Marcus Phoenix, his son, is actually the lead protagonist in the game. I've just been worried as far as for the series if it's going to match up, like you said, because it doesn't have Cliffy B's. But then again, anything can be a step up from Judgment, because that was such a disappointment for me on that end.
Nicole and I co-opted the first three and couldn't get through Judgment. We literally just could not get through the game.
Judgment is a polarizing game. It's either you love it or hate it, and there's just no in between with that game. One of the other things I want to talk about, Battlefield 1, like we have mentioned before on previous podcasts, is something obviously that EA is staunchly getting behind. Something that they are trying very heavily to weigh against, as they do every time they bring it out compared to Call of Duty. Your thoughts on the stark changes to the actual, since they're going back to World War I with their theme. Good move, bad move, is something that you see will actually ultimately prove to them to be a winner this fall season?
I love it. Like I said, I think it feels fresh, even though it's an idea that was, maybe 10 years ago was done to death. Mm-hmm. We haven't really seen a great, standard World War I or World War II game, really, for that matter, in a few years. I mean, I think the closest I've come to enjoying a period piece was probably Wolfenstein, and that takes it way out into left field. But even that felt fresh, because it felt like a different time period. It didn't feel like the standard COD shooter, which I know that is the industry standard, because it is. I mean, give it credit where credit's due. It's one of the best-selling franchises of all time, if not the best, when you count all the games in culmination. But I'm really excited for it. It's one of those games I've been trying to avoid gameplay. I've read a lot of articles about it, but I'm trying to avoid actually watching anything from it, just because I'm that excited for it.
So what are some of the games that are appealing to you outside of that realm that maybe audiences should become more aware of?
I'm kind of one of the weird ones that adopted the Vita pretty early on, and there's a few games for the Vita that I'm really excited for. Criminal Girls 2, which is definitely not safe for work, but one of those quirky, just anime. It's a Japanese game,
Yes.
and it has no apologies for being so. I'm gonna get this wrong. I wrote down the name. Yomawari. It's Night Alone. It's very much like an old school. It feels 16-bit, but it's not in the way that the animations are, and it's very much a side-scrolling platformer where you're a girl with her firefly. Her going out to look for her sister, who's looking for their lost dog. So there's different people you meet, and it's you traveling through the city at night and the adventure you go on. There's a couple like definitive editions. The Metal Gear Solid 5 one coming out. I like it when DLC's bundled.
BioShock collection just got released. That's somebody has not been able to get the chance to play any or all the BioShock collections. It's a great way as far as to get their hands on all three at one point in time.
Mm-hmm. And then I think the other big one, and it was just kind of it surprised me when I saw they were doing it, is Shantae. I'm very excited for Shantae at E3. Shantae had a big presence.
Yes.
Everything from, actual like sponsored cosplayers to, a very large display. They were really pushing Shantae. Especially, I don't know how many people actually have played the game. It's a very niche, rather expensive, Game Boy offering, and it's one of those that I think has a bigger cult following than people who've actually played it.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see them actually, doubling down on that and really pushing the series.
Final Fantasy 15. We cannot speak the fall preview without speaking about that game. Obviously, with everything in mind as far as it's concerned, a lot of fan expectations for that game, a lot of talk, a lot of hearsay. Do they want it, as far as it's concerned, a second half that's going to be linear? Do they like an open world aspect? Going back and forth. You and I spoke at length about the bundle that is becoming available to not only just the Japanese but the North American markets regarding I think it's a 1 terabyte, if I'm not mistaken, along with the game and the Heavensward movie. Your thoughts on Final Fantasy 15? Is it primed for big success, and is it something that you think a lot of players are going to latch onto this fall season?
Final Fantasy sells. There's no way for it not to. It's ingrained in it is part of just video games. It's I think it's a great way to sell slim consoles. They're pushing it with a bundle with a slim. I think that's definitely a smart move to try to move consoles and games, because I think Final Fantasy is a system seller. It is one of those games that if you don't already have a PS4 and you're waiting for something, I think Final Fantasy 15 would do it for people.
I think so too.
And the game looks great.
It does. I won't dispute that. I think it is something that has a lot of promise for those who have not gotten into the Final Fantasy series or who've been intimidated by it, because Final Fantasy it has a lot of similarities to the Assassin's Creed series in that it started out in one direction with the stories. They've gone entirely in one direction. It goes into another, and it goes to another, because of all the different hands that have been in the kitty and that sort of speak, as far as it's concerned. So I see a lot of people, getting back into the franchise as far as it's concerned with Final Fantasy 15. I think it's going to be promoted and pushed heavily. I think it's something that is going to be a cornerstone of the fall game season, and do quite well outside of the shooters. Because there's going to be a lot of people looking for something outside of the shooters this holiday season. I think that's one direction that they're going to go to. Another direction that they may go to is Pokemon Sun and Moon. As far as it's concerned, could this be the last heyday for that particular handheld, the 3DS? Because it's waning now.
Yeah.
It's starting to show its age a little bit, and until we see more and find out more about the NX, there's not too much more on the horizon that I see as far as it's concerned that's going to garner the average consumer's interest in owning and retaining a 3DS.
Well, exactly. I think if the NX is what the rumors are saying it's going to be, it's going to cut into 3DS very, very heavily.
Yeah.
I think it will cut into quite a bit. There was even a few months ago. I can't remember the exact time frame. There was an investor meeting talking about they expected it to cut into Wii U and 3DS sales, which kind of made us all think it was going to be some sort of handheld.
Exactly.
In some way, shape, or form, or at least replace part of that handheld market. I don't know. The 3DS to me was never what I wanted it to be. I've tried to get into it. I've tried to really, really like it. I think it felt too much like just another DS to me. I feel like they've ridden that format for too long. And I think there needs to be something fresh and something new and something a little bit different. And hopefully the NX is that.
I hope really so as well. I'm not wishing ill success on it. I'm actually quite the contrary. I'm hoping for something that people can latch onto that might have strayed away from Nintendo products since the death of the Wii, and I'm hoping that the NX will be it. But for right now, obviously banking on the Pokemon name to hold it out for one more fall season with Sun and Moon. So we're hopefully that we're going to be able to get a product that's going to match that enthusiasm. But the only problem is Sun and Moon are going to be coming behind Pokemon Go. And that's a big thing as far as that is concerned, because you're looking at the phenomenal success of Pokemon Go. 500 million downloads. They've made a ton of money over it as far as it's concerned. So
comes out on the Apple Watch, I believe, next month.
Exactly.
Which I think will change things as well.
Exactly.
Where you don't have to pull your phone out of your pocket. You can literally just play from your watch.
Exactly.
I think that'll change. But I think we'll see even more downloads.
But Sun and Moon, and that type of expectation is now a little bit heavier on Sun and Moon to produce quality game playing experience.
I think it only helps it. I mean, I truly believe. I mean, Pokemon's another one of those franchises that people just buy it because it's Pokemon. They want to play more Pokemon, and whether it's good or bad, they want to be in that world. And it's a fun world. I mean, you can't knock Pokemon. It's fun. I mean, whether it's your type of game or not, it's just a fun game. I mean, and at its core, it targets that core gamer as a turn-based RPG.
Yeah.
But it's a little more casual, which I mean is fine, and it makes it easier to just pick up and play in short bursts, and it makes it easier for that handheld gamer to get into it. I don't know if Pokemon Go really hurt it, because I feel like Pokemon Go, the success was kind of similar to the Wii's, where it pulled in a crowd that normally didn't play games. Like, I see people like my father's friends, he's in his 60s, are talking about Pokemon Go. We've owned this game store for 2 years. I've been in the games my whole life. I've never heard them mention video games, and now they're playing Pokemon Go. I mean, it's one of those, like, it's getting those people that just wouldn't normally pick up a console and play it.
Indeed. It's something definitely to look forward to see how that transpires as far as will that audience that played Pokemon Go latch on to Sun and Moon and actually buy 3DSs because of it. But we'll wait and see on that one. Any other list of titles that you're looking forward to this holiday season?
World of Final Fantasy has a release is it this fall? Or did it get pushed back?
I think it got pushed back. But there's also Dishonored 2 and Watch Dogs.
Dishonored 2.
Sequels to very successful initial entries to the video game market, both of them. So I'm curious to see. With both of them, there were some kind of issues that player had as far as the linear structure, Dishonored, and also with Watch Dogs, there was a lot of nitpicky things as far as that's concerned from a lot of people. I'm interested to see what advancements, what improvements both games have to offer when they're coming out in November.
Yeah, Watch Dogs, I couldn't really get into. It was so repetitive. And I felt like, I don't want to say they lied, but didn't feel like what they said it was going to be, which is fine. I mean, I know people that love the game. It wasn't my type of game. But Dishonored, I played the ever-living heck out of that game. I think I beat the game the first time in 2 sittings, just powered through it, and I loved every moment of it. I've been avoiding Dishonored 2 like the plague. I just don't want to know anything about it. I want to play it the first time myself. I've seen a couple of the trailers, and that's it. And I really want to just dive into that game fresh. I
don't blame you. Don't blame you a bit. Looks good. And then there's going to be a lot of other games that are coming out this fall season that a lot of eyes are on. Tune in to Game Source on Facebook, who has the latest and greatest news around the internet in regards to the world of video games. Like us there, and you'll get all the action down there. But from you, Retro City Games, tell us a little bit more about some of the things that Retro City Games has to offer before we go into our next segment.
So, Retro City Games, Nicole and I have really tried to build a community around gaming. I mean, we try to carry everything. If it's a video game, we want it in our store. Not just to sell, but also to play. We host game nights once a month. They're free events. You can find us on Facebook at just Retro City Games NV. And once a month we do a free game night where we just come hang out, get some pizzas, drinks, all that kind of stuff, and just hang out and play games till midnight, 1, 2 in the morning. Every other weekend we do a Smash tournament, and we do other tournaments. You can find all of our information at Retro City Games NV on Facebook. But yeah, if you just want to come down and talk about games, hang out, buy some games, whatever you want to do. If it's a game, we want it here.
And they also answer your questions here. Nicole and Doug go out of the way to answer your gaming questions, even if you're not currently in the area. I remember asking you guys as far as to be able to allow myself to be a part of the Retro City Games Facebook entity as far as they're concerned. And as soon as I got added on, within an hour, there were 23 messages sent to you guys regarding video game questions. So They do answer them. And I just want to let you know they go out of their way to answer them as best as possible here at Retro City Games. So if you are in the area, Las Vegas, Henderson, come on down, check them out. If you're not, they still answer your questions in regards to the retro video game scene and also video games as a whole. If they don't know the answers, they will find it out and they will go to somebody that does, because they are the best in the business, bar none, as far as it's concerned.
Thank you, Gerald.
When we come back, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about ColecoVision, something you're familiar with as well. I'm going to talk to the author of Coleco, the official book. We'll talk about ColecoVision and a whole lot more in the interview I had with Antoine Claire Renault right after this. Thanks everyone for watching us on the Retro City Games Facebook Live. Appreciate that out there. When I come back from the break, we're going to talk about the iPhone and Galaxy battle. I did have an interview earlier today with Antoine Claire Renault, the author of the Coleco book, Coleco, the official book. That's coming out. Actually, it is out, and it's available to be purchased on the ColecoBook.com website. So appreciate his patience and also dealing with us, and then also as well being allowed us to interview him as well. So coming back from the break here in a few. Thank you again for watching. This is, like I said, the live feed of Retro City, from Retro City Games. This is live feed of Pop Culture Cosmos. For the best version, you can download it on Pop Culture Cosmos channel on iTunes, podcast.com, or listen to it on the Podcast Radio Network. So thank you. And we're coming back here from the break in a few. Ready?
Yep.
All right, let's do it. And we're back. It's Pop Culture Cosmos. I want to again thanks Antoine Claire Renault for taking the time out of his day to interview with me in regards to Coleco, the official book. And if you have any questions or would like to buy that book, because I reviewed it on the nuherald.com and yourgamesource.com, I reviewed it. You need to get that book if you are interested at all in companies that major toy companies of the last century and their ups and downs, the rise and falls. And if you're interested not just in retro gaming but toys as general, because they did a lot of other things, and you want to check them out at ColecoBook.com. It's a great book, highly recommended. Also want to give out a shout out to Jesse, our good friend here at Retro City Games. He came out with a little game. Still available on Kickstarter.
DJ and Jesse.
Yes, DJ and Jesse. Forgive me. DJ and Jesse. They came out with a little game called Henshin Engine. If you want to find out more, it's Henshin Engine, HENSHIN Engine. They've got a Kickstarter they have 3 levels, I believe, as far as it's concerned, and they want to get to 8. So they're looking for your help. It's almost all funded by the time you hear this, but they still need your help to get them over the top. Check it out today, Henshin Engine on Kickstarter. Our good friends, like I said, a Podcast Radio Network, we truly appreciate being a part of their schedule. We're on every Monday, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Please give us a listen there. We need your help as far as the ratings are concerned. Want to make sure that not only we are staying on the network, because it's always a good thing,
right,
but also being a major part of that as well. if you don't get a chance to check us out on Podcast Radio Network, its podcast, as far as it's concerned, can be downloaded or will automatically come up if you're subscribed to us on the iTunes and Podcast.com networks under the, as far as it's concerned, the Pop Culture Cosmos channels. All right. Before I give a shout out again, any more shout outs, I apologize. I want to make sure everybody's covered there. Let's talk about cell phone battles. iPhone has recently announced as far as some major changes with its iPhone 7. Hasn't made everyone happy, but they've done a lot of improvements as well. Meanwhile, Galaxy, which you and I are proud owners of, or almost proud owners of, has had their troubles in recent weeks. Tell me your thoughts in the battle as far as is concerned between iPhone and the Samsung Galaxy family, because the Note and their issues have made it a big concern, and the tide, which was once really going strong for Samsung and the Galaxy family, has now turned a little bit kind of tenuous as far as it's concerned.
Yeah, apparently Samsung can't get a battery right.
Apparently.
For those of you who don't know, Samsung recalled over 1 million phones. I believe it was.
Yes.
The feds even had to step in, I believe, to make sure the recall was going correctly because it was such a large safety hazard. You're seeing people's homes catching on fire. A couple people I know have been injured. I don't know if there's any actual fatalities. There's been some casualties, but I don't know any fatalities over it. But it's been a big issue where just charging your phone can set it on fire.
Exactly. From the home charger, correct?
Yeah, from the home charger. Apparently the battery doesn't know when to stop accepting juice.
Ouch.
Yeah, I've owned quite a few Samsung phones. I've always been I don't want to say anti-Apple, that sounds bad, but I've always felt they're a little underpowered for what I've always wanted. Their connectivity is great, the way that you can seamlessly move between products.
And their interface is great.
Exactly.
And obviously, the fact that they've coordinated with iTunes and whatnot. But
my actual biggest excitement with the new, before getting into the negatives, is actually the watch. The improvements they've made to the watch, I feel are what the watch should have been when it first came out. The way you can basically use it like a complete phone. I mean, it's faster, it's lighter, it uses less power. I mean, I think the watch is actually something that could actually sell more phones than I think most people realize.
And that's one thing I wanted to go into as far as it's concerned, because Apple has made a concerted effort to try and catch up with the technology of some of the leading Android phones. Yeah. And they're at that point where as far as their camera and their basic interface, stereo speakers, those have all seemed to have caught up, water resistance, things of that nature. But one thing they left out, which is angering a lot of individuals, that little headphone jack, like the one you see here on this phone. Now, I don't love it being on the bottom like this one, like the Samsung Galaxy S6, but at least it's there. Whereas with the new iPhone that's coming out, or out, whatnot, that is just missing that entity, and they want you to do something else, correct?
I feel it's just... I don't know. I feel Apple was 99% there, and then they announced that, and I was hoping the rumors weren't true.
Because they want you to use the attachment, correct?
They want you to use the attachment, and I feel it's just it's a bit of a money grab, and I don't think the consumer really likes that. They say it's for a next gen and going wireless, but the option, it doesn't really. I know there's a cost associated, but it doesn't cost them anything, and I feel it was just to make you use their proprietary, lightning connection for wired headphones.
Yep, or the wireless ones that they talked about.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I feel it was also, Nicole actually brought it up to me, I think it was also an attempt to push Apple Pay, where now you can't use any of those third-party peripherals. You can't use the Google Pay attachment, you can't use the Amazon Pay, you can't use Square. Those kind of functionalities are now, or even PayPal's attachment, they don't exist now.
So where does that leave us as consumers? Does that make the choice clearer, or does that just make the choices now more muddled? Because like you said, while iPhone has made improvements, they've done things that made the consumer experience a little bit harder. Whereas you have Samsung, which had been obviously gaining some traction and real momentum in the industry with this bad PR move as far as their product is concerned, at least one of their products, which will obviously and eventually, I'm sure, tie over into the Galaxy series as a whole, which will have people maybe hesitant on buying them. What do you think how do you think that dictates the future of this cell phone battle.
I think it'll be interesting to see what other competitors like Samsung do. I guarantee within the next year we'll see a second line from Samsung that isn't a Galaxy line. That might be a premium option where instead of Galaxy becomes their kind of middle of the road, and whatever new iteration becomes whatever they call it, just to distance themselves from that. It's kind of like when you see a car manufacturer recall, we might see that model of car go away for a year or two. The same car might have lived on, as a spiritual successor, but we won't see that branding anymore. I'm hoping they go that kind of route and bounce back. And it also depends on, it might be the standard now, the lack of a headphone jack. So you can sell your proprietary connection, or you can sell Bluetooth products, which are a little bit cheaper to manufacture. I mean, we'll see. It all depends on where the competition goes. If everybody just follows suit with Apple, that'll be the norm. And Apple,
third parties, how accepting is Apple going to be of third parties making those products as far as those attachments with the Lightning, as far as is concerned, like you were talking about? Because not everybody likes to go, like you said, with the proprietary Apple features. Samsung has always been, because it's part of the Android family, it's always been very loose as far as their standards are concerned, as far as attachment, chargers, cases, things of that nature.
Apple's normally pretty proprietary. They really try to pigeonhole you into their products. And they do it behind that, seal of quality, trying to say there's a quality and a standard to our products, which I understand, but it also, it sucks for the consumer. I mean, when you're limited, it's never good.
So let's say right now, your contract comes up, coming into this fall as far as concerned, which is a major time for buyers to be interested in getting cell phones. In fact, when my contract comes up, it will be during a Black Friday season. What are your thoughts as far as it's concerned? Is the choice now harder, more difficult, or is it still easier for you to stay with the Android phones?
I had been looking at Apple just for that integration between all products. I don't really have too many Apple products, but I like the idea of being able to work on my phone, moving it straight to my tablet, moving it straight to my laptop. I like that integration that I see some other business and some of my other friends using. So I'd already been looking, but then some of the features being cut out for me, like the headphone jack and things like that, from a business standpoint, hurt me. Being able to take payments on the go and things like that. And I can still do it, but it just costs me more now. And that's an issue for me. But as far as the battery issue with Samsung, it wouldn't stop me from buying another Galaxy phone personally. I understand why it would stop some people, but to me, I don't want to say mistakes happen because this was a big mistake, but I feel like they're doing the right thing. They're giving people either loaner phones, either loaning people phones until they get replacements, or they're replacing the phone outright with whatever model you want. I think Samsung's doing the right thing. So to me, neither really have pulled me in either direction. But I feel it's completely a hardware standpoint, and Apple's kind of pulling me that way a little bit with them catching up.
I agree with you. Apple is catching up. Apple was something that I've never really considered before. I know my son, on our last time, we actually decided to change our phones. My wife and I went back with Samsung while my son changed over to iPhone because he just decided that his interface and the fact that a lot of his friends actually had iPhones, so he thought it would be better for him in that respect. The choice for me is now actually coming a little bit more clouded. So we'll see when my contract and when a lot of other consumers' contracts come up in time to renew this fall, what way they're going to go to. Yeah, iPhone is still the big bad boy on top, but Android was something that was really gaining a lot of steam.
And it's also to note, I think they just sold their billionth phone. I think was the number I saw. Mm-hmm. Apple just sold their billionth iPhone, which that's impressive in itself.
Indeed.
But I mean, yeah, for me, it used to be a really easy decision. Had to walk in, and all the Samsung phones the screens are brighter and clearer. They had better battery life. They're bigger screens, and there were more apps and features, and they were faster. I mean, the tech was just there. And now, like you said, we're starting to see that line blurred. And
now it's not so simple.
Yeah, I don't know where that leaves. I don't know where that leaves the market. I think only time will tell.
Time will definitely tell, indeed. But like I said, for you out there, send us your thoughts either on the Retro City Games page, the Pop Culture Cosmos page, Game Source. Send us your thoughts as far as it's concerned on whether you're leaning now iPhone or Android for your next mobile phone, or someone else as far as it's concerned. Who knows? Maybe even Sony, Xperia, come back. No, I'm just kidding on that one.
I actually, the Xperia Play, I think was an extremely underrated phone. It wasn't the fastest, but I liked the idea of a full functional controller underneath and things like that. I felt that was a great hybrid between the PSP and a phone. And Nicole actually had one for about a year, and we played the hell out of that thing.
Yes.
It was definitely lacking, but I thought it was such a cool step in the right direction, and then nobody bought it.
Nobody bought it. Nobody bought Nokia. Yeah, nobody, as far as is concerned. I mean, there are still players in the market like HTC and whatnot, but yeah, it's becoming pretty much a two-horse race. So that's why we pose the question out to you. What are your thoughts as far as is concerned? Let us know. Either Retro City Games, their Facebook page, or also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos. When we come back, want to make sure to let you know that Josh and I are going to be talking about comic books and what we feel are some of the best comic books that you can get outside of the Marvel and DC universe. But before we go to our break, just want to make sure we give a shout out to Mario Party Wars, Sal, Lorna, and as far as Yelton and all the gang and all the crew, Mario Party Wars. If you get a chance, check them out on their Facebook page. That's Mario Party Wars. And once again, if you have a chance to read more about Coleco, go to ColecoBook.com. Order that today. It's a great book from our friend Antoine Claire Renault. He did a great job in reading the book. It's Coleco, the official book, at ColecoBook.com. Right now, we're going to head to the break. This is the Pop Culture Cosmos. I guess we'll do a close because I'll just do a segment with Josh here later, but I don't want to close with that. I'll just come back and so you can push anything you want to push, because I know you want to push box art. So I want to say push box art. So many things to push. Because I noticed I didn't put it on there. But I'm like halfway through when you were talking about video games. I'm like, oh man, box art.
Yes. There's so many projects going on right now with everybody.
And with Rob McCallum Films, I want to make sure I do a shout out to him. So I guess because he is our good friend, Rob McCallum. If you're out there watching or listening, or if you see this, check his page out, robmccallumfilms.com. But we're going to come back for a closing. We appreciate you watching. This is the live feed for Pop Culture Cosmos. It is our weekly look at the pop culture world. Check it out today. Either you can download it every week on iTunes, on the Pop Culture Cosmos channel, podcast.com, and then also as well, watch us here. And then, Podcast Radio Network, we really could use your help there because we really need all the listeners we can get, because it's all about listeners when it comes to radio networks. But we'll be coming back for the break for our close. Appreciate it. Well, thanks again for watching, and once again, we're going to come back in. All right, we're back for the final. Well, we're going to actually close this episode out for the final episode. No, that's not. I'm just kidding. But it's the final segment for Pop Culture Cosmos. Want to thank everybody for watching, listening. Doug, did you have any last thoughts on Box Art, the documentary? Because that's going to lead me as far as our good friend Rob McCallum is concerned on his other work. But you're part of the major project which you helped shed light to in the past couple weeks. Tell us more about Box Art, the docuseries.
Nicole and I are producing Box Art. Rob McCallum is producing and directing it. It is a definitive look at the box art in video games, the artist behind it, the process, and even the decision and the reasoning behind the boxes, the shape, the form, the design. We've been doing a lot of filming. We still have quite a few interviews to go. We'll be getting most of it wrapped up towards the end of October, with a few more after that. But Portland area, we have some interviews scheduled, and then actually in San Francisco directly after Portland, we'll be heading down there.
You are just the traveling dude.
Yeah. Yeah, all over the place. We were in Seattle last week, doing some films with some great people. It's shaping up really nicely. For those of you who don't know, we switched from a film 90-minute feature format to a 6-episode format.
Because there's just so much content.
Exactly. The problem was in 90 minutes we just couldn't tell what we wanted to tell. This allows us, easily double the time to talk about and really explore these artists and who
you
and
announced
what they
that
are.
on our Kickstarter video, correct?
We did announce that right before, but there's still some people that weren't clear, didn't know. But it's just to give you guys more content, and same delivery time. We're shooting for the end of 2018, hoping to be done before that. But yeah, it's shaping up really well. We have some great content. and some great interviews we've done. I think a lot of this stuff will be really surprising for people to hear.
I look forward as well. I'm just so happy that you guys are going to do it. You, Nicole, Rob. And speaking of Rob, RobMcCallumFilms.com is the place to go to find out more information on not only Box Art, the docuseries, but also as well, hey, how did it all start for us? Nintendo Quest. Nintendo Quest, indeed. If you get a chance, it is one of the premier documentaries for video gaming and video game collection. If you get a chance, check it out. RobMcCallumFilms.com has the word on how you can get a hold of Nintendo Quest, either buying it via DVD, Blu-ray, or downloading it. And while you're there, as Amazon, loves to put that little plus sign, there's also the tour, the video, as far as it's concerned, the Power Tour for Nintendo Quest. The Nintendo Quest Power Tour, which chronicles all the stops along the way as far as the promotion. It's a fascinating look as far as the promotion of a what was once a very tiny documentary that turned out to be something much larger, much huger, much bigger than, actually huger wasn't the word, but much larger as far as in scope and volume, from our good friend Rob McCallum and Jay. As far as can't forget Jay, he thought we were so handsome on last week's podcast. But if you get that, check it out. It's like an 8-episode series, if I'm not correct.
Yeah, it's think of a rockumentary where you follow a rock star or a rock band on their tour. It's the same idea. It's following the screenings of Nintendo Quest. Rob and Jay have a little bit of a competition going on regarding collecting.
Exactly.
Throughout the whole thing,
and that's what makes it really amusing.
Oh yeah, them trying to. They both have a list of games they're trying to hunt, but the other person doesn't know what their games are.
And look for us as far as the Las Vegas stop, because you'll see a lot of, especially this man right here.
Nicole and I hosted the premiere of a
little bit of
Nintendo Quest here in Vegas.
Yes.
You're on the Power Tour as well. Rob's also working on a couple other awesome projects. He just finished up Missing Mom, which is winning awards everywhere.
Absolutely. Highly rated by myself. I did a review of that on the NU Herald and also as well YourGameSource.com. That will also be going on our new site that's coming out, PopCultureCosmos at WordPress.com. That's as far as it's concerned. A lot of great content that's going up there, including that review, which I highly and strongly recommend it. And Rob McCallum Films, .com, that will tell you when it goes to like video and it's available DVD release, Blu-ray release. So when you get a chance, you check out robmccallumfilms.com for that great update, because that is winning awards right and left.
And then yes it is. And then there's also another project he's working on, Power of Grayskull, which is the definitive look at the history of He-Man and She-Ra, right? And She-Ra. So yeah, he's got a lot going on, but a lot of great content coming out of Rob.
And if you get a chance, like I said, check it out, robmccallumfilms.com. So that's going to do it for this episode of Pop Culture Cosmos. We truly appreciate you watching. If you're watching our Facebook live feed off of Retro City Games, if you get a chance, check them out on their Facebook page. Also as well, if you were listening to us on our podcast radio network, or do you just download it off our podcast.com and iTunes network. Man, that's a lot to say. I tell you.
It's a mouthful.
Please, we truly appreciate it. We cannot thank you enough for being a part of the Pop Culture Cosmos. Doug, it's as always been a pleasure. Any last words?
No. I kind of threw me on the spot there. No. Wow.
Fair enough. And we will leave it at that. Thank you again for joining us on the Pop Culture Cosmos. We hope you have a great day. Thank you as far as that's again. It's another beautiful evening paradise. Thank you for delving into the Pop Culture Cosmos, and you have yourself a great day.
My mind wanders.